Welcome to episode 25 of the Bobcast, our weekly coaches show where we chat with all of our in-season head coaches. I'm joined first by head softball coach Wes Landrum and softball splitting doubleheaders with Southern Virginia and York College, a win over SVU 5-3, a loss 13-4, a dramatic 2-1 win in 9 innings over York College before falling 8-0 in Game 2. First and foremost, how nice was it to wake up in your own bed, which you do just about every day anyway, but get to play at home rather than going away for the first time all season where the player's excited to not have to travel and be at home?
Yeah, they were pretty excited. I think it's been a long time coming. You know, we had a chance to kind of try to get on it Friday afternoon, infield wise. You know, it's nice. They're super excited about it. Obviously, um, even yesterday, the temperature wasn't fantastic, but it was just the fact that yeah, no 2 plus 3 4 hour bus ride was pretty awesome. So.
And in both wins last week, Allison Short, the one in the circle, she beat Ginger Lewis head-to-head, which is no small feat, a feather in her cap. No errors behind her in that York College game. Again, these two results, can this team beat anyone when she's rolling and they back her up defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's proven over the course of her career. She was rookie of the year. Last 2 years has been a first team all conference kid. She's good, and we're good when she pitches really well, and that hasn't changed. The players behind her have changed, obviously, and we've struggled a little bit behind defensively. All the kids this year, but for sure, um, she's awesome. So it's fun to play behind her. I think for the other kids, and they get into a good rhythm, and she just competes. So.
On the flip side, the two losses last week were the two games in which she wasn't able to pitch. I think some other factors contribute to that, with the weather perhaps turning to for the better, as we say that with snow falling here on Monday in Frostburg. How much can more practice time, if nothing else, help your team, especially in winning those games in which Short doesn't pitch?
Sure, I think getting outside alleviates a few things defensively for sure. We need more consistency pitching wise. We need to be better when Allison's not pitching defensively. We need to be better, overall defensively, but especially when she's not pitching. I think the confidence when she's in the circle is fantastic. Everyone knows that she's good. The flip side is everyone needs to have confidence in each other to make plays, and if we don't make a play, then confidence that the next one will get made. So.
How does practicing outside benefit your other pitchers as well? Does that change pitching in the gym versus outside?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different feel. It's not terribly different from a pitching standpoint, but I think just getting outside in general helps our psyche.
Sure. I want to hit on Taylor McCarty, of course, the walk-off home run against York College. Going into that at-bat, she was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. What does that say about her mental approach and always being ready? And she was the one who ultimately came through and won the game.
We've had a lot of conversations with our younger players about, being able to be mentally tough. What does it mean to be mentally tough? Specifically, it's about trying to not let the moment become too big, which is easier said than done. Taylor did a fantastic job yesterday of being herself and letting letting things happen and not worrying about the previous at bats. We talk about all the time what's our most important at bat, and it's the next one. She did a fantastic job of allowing that to happen, and by being herself and letting her personality kind of shine through, that's what allowed her to have that success. So it was just a fantastic moment for her, for our team, and I couldn't be more happy and proud of her.
I saw you pumping your fist over in the third base coach's box on the highlight tape as she you high-fived her rounding third base. Getting to from the high of the week to perhaps the low of the week, Game 2, Southern Virginia, 4-4 going into the bottom of the fifth. SVU brings home 9 runs. Rather than getting into what happened in that stretch, how does your team, how can you move on from something like that?
I mean, I think you need to be able to fix the things we need to fix, and understand that every team that plays us, we have a target on our back. We've had a lot of success over the years, and every team that's finished below us every year, they enjoy beating us. and they come prepared to play. And we have the problem with us this year has been a little bit with all these new players is they don't quite totally understand that yet. And I think Wednesday was a fantastic wake-up call to say, hey, if we don't show up and just want to make every out count offensively and want to take care of the ball defensively for 21 outs, it comes to backfire you. And Southern Virginia's been a much improved team,
Sure.
for sure. And it's but our ability to have a sense of urgency, which we lacked, I think, on Wednesday afternoon, was much better yesterday. So I was proud of our rebound in that regard.
Learning a sense of urgency from the Wednesday doubleheader. How about Saturday? Or Sunday, pardon me. How helpful was it for your young hitters to see the likes of a Ginger Lewis this early in conference play, because you're going to be seeing other high-level stuff beyond?
I mean, anytime you face good pitching, it's a challenge. I think that's what people get when they face us, and Allison Short's been in the circle. It's fun. I'm glad we came out on the winning side of it 2-1. But, I mean, if you look at the results, it was 3 solo home runs. It's the kind of game that the pitchers dominated. We kind of made one mistake. They, kind of made 2. I'll take it. It's pretty awesome for us. I think she's a really good pitcher, and I think that's what's fun about the game. So.
You'll see plenty more of that in conference play and perhaps in the postseason this week. Hood and Dickinson Tuesday, Thursday on the road, and then Salisbury and Wesley doubleheaders here over the weekend. So that's 8 games in a week. Do you like that for the reason that your team is just at least outside and on dirt for 4 games before those next conference dates?
Yeah, I mean, I think it allows us to hopefully get in some rhythm offensively, especially. That's a lot of times not playing. That's the hardest thing to recreate inside is that game situation. So hopefully, yeah, I mean, hopefully we're able to get into a good rhythm and string some good hitting and pitching defensive performances. That's what you hope for this time of year. It's important that we find a rhythm. It's important we find consistency, but it's more important that we actually get on dirt at a regular timed intervals.
I would agree with you there, Wes. I'm excited to do a game finally this Saturday. Good luck this week. Thanks for joining me on the Bobcast.
Thank you, Andy.
Up next, I have head baseball coach Guy Robertson, a 2-2 week, a sweep over Wesley College 7-6 and 26-10, and then 2 losses to Penn State Harrisburg 15-8, 9-6 in Game 2. Frostburg State now 3-5 in conference play. So, Coach, what did you learn in this past week in the 2 doubleheaders that we saw, Wesley and Penn State Harrisburg?
Well, I think we saw both ends of the spectrum of our team about what we've been seeing the whole year, I suppose. We come out and we actually did a really, really good job of kind of stemming the tide, and we're down 5-0 and just came back and just kept grinding away. I think we were down 5-0. We came back and
Mike Takovich, a big double.
3-run double, and cut it to 5-3, and then it was 5-4, then it was 6-5, then it was 7-5, and we were able to do some good things there in the 9th inning to get through it and find a way to win a ball game, a much-needed ball game, and get us going. And then, obviously kind of, they pitched who they pitched in the second game, and Greg was really good, and we were able to kind of really pull away there, and which was nice for a while until the 7th inning struck, and we allowed them an 8 spot, and just kind of left a bad taste in our mouths, I think, and just couldn't quite get over it. And I think a little bit of that carried into yesterday, and lackluster performance. I thought that when we played the way we played on Friday, that would carry over regardless. In that 8-run 7th inning in the nightcap, we came back and scored 6 runs, and the bottom half of that inning kind of offset that. So I don't know. It's just been an up and down year, and everything, it's just seemed to be mounting against us. The travel, the road games, the weather, injuries. But really, it's just one of those things where I think we need to get a fresh outlook on things, and being at home here for a while will hopefully do that. It's just a matter of getting to be at home, and hopefully that's coming here the next game that we play and for the next several games that we play. We just have to play better baseball. We can't continue to ride the roller coaster, so to speak. And, we have the ups and downs, and they kind of come, very quickly and can come out of nowhere and catch you off guard. And, we got to be mentally tougher. And right now, I just think that we're getting in our own way, and we've kind of handcuffed ourselves by our thought processes, and it's affected our physical abilities. And nobody's really playing up to their abilities. Maybe one or two guys, three guys, but right now everybody's just kind of trudging through the mud. And we had a pretty lively discussion last night after the game was over with, and hopefully that'll breed some fresh and new vibes and maybe a renewed outlook, and maybe some guys could be a little bit more introspective and kind of try to right their own ships, and in turn that's going to help us as a group. So that's what I'm hoping. Hoping that we get a couple good days here outside and just kind of, again, just refresh, kind of hit the reset button and kind of go from there. So as you can tell, I'm not as energetic as maybe I have been. It's been a long road. We spent umpteen hours here on the bus, going up and back Friday, and then we go up to Harrisburg and back, and those things take their toll. And it's unfortunate. It is the reality of it. It's snowing outside right now still, and but it's a grind. It's been a grind, and I do feel for the guys, and I feel for the assistants, and it's hard. You just said it, and if you never experienced it, it makes it really, really hard. Unfortunately, I've experienced it a lot, but we have so many new guys and so many guys that haven't experienced anything like this over the course of their careers at any point. It does make it tough, and this game is difficult as it is, and then when you combine some difficulties that you put on yourself and you get in your own way and your brain starts to overreact, and sometimes you get these types of circumstances. So tough tests ahead of us. Every game from here on out is going to be a grind just to try to get home and get to the postseason. But you know what? We're going to be up for the task, and I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to roll over, and we're going to go down fighting. At least I am. And hopefully I'll get a couple of these seniors to follow along, and it'll trickle down that way. So we'll put our nose down, and we'll go back to work tomorrow and try to figure this thing out.
Across the board, a lot of guys have kind of cooled down after really hard starts, but some guys have come on. Mike Takovich had a nice week, drove in 6 runs, scored 4 times, homered against PSH. Coming into the season, I knew him as a pitcher, and he's made his hay as a position player as of lately. Brett Fogel was big in the Wesley win, a couple of RBI singles to tie the game, take the lead, and then you have Jason Paredes coming back after nearly missing a month with injury. Can those guys sort of serve as a spark perhaps for your roster, and with them starting to come around and contribute? And really, are you looking for a balanced approach from your team? And you talked about the mental aspect. How does your team work through, sort of a rut that they've hit in the season?
I certainly think Jason can be a spark, no doubt about it. I think that was the case Friday, now maybe a little less yesterday. Yesterday was such a difficult day. I mean, it was freezing cold, and guys trying to come back. I mean, both he and Kyle trying to play back-to-back doubleheaders. Well, one day in between, but really not a chance to really get healthy. And Friday being so long, and then turn around, and yesterday was so even longer. And the weather being what it was. So I know that was a tough day mentally and physically on those two guys. But yeah, I think Jason can absolutely be a spark. He's proven to be that. He's kind of he's a real happy-go-lucky, energetic guy. Anyways, that's just his makeup. I expect him to be a guy who could really help pick us up.
How welcome? Oh no, go right ahead. Takovich.
Tack he's been fantastic. He's done everything that we asked of him. He didn't do anything for us offensively or play a position last year, even though he did come in as a two-way guy. Felt the need to kind of make the move and try to fill some holes with him in the fall, and sliding him from third base to shortstop. He's been really, really good. He's filled a hole there for us. He's been outstanding. He's been steady as it goes, and it's exactly what we needed, and I'm very happy for him. He's just got a little bit of an edge and a little chip on his shoulder, and he plays that way, and I'm very happy that, to see him go out there and be able to participate and have an effect the way he's had on a regular basis, and I certainly hope that continues. Brett Fogel's got enough arrogance and enough stupidity to just maybe be pretty daggum good along the way here. Young pup who, he's done some really, really good things and done some really not so good things. So you get that with freshmen sometimes trying to find their way. But he's been really big for us the last week or so, and I don't want to say I'm surprised, but anytime you have a freshman in there on a regular basis, you're a little unsure until you get it, and he's done a really good job. So happy for him, and hopefully there's continued good things to come out of him.
A storyline we've run into with softball is in their conference doubleheaders, their ace wins game 1, game 2 they've struggled this year. This past week, Adam and Schneider throw against Wesley, 2 wins, and then you have to find your way to get through 9 innings in the other 2 games. How is the pitching staff coming along, and what needs to be done so that with all these games crammed together now in these last 2.5 weeks before playoffs, the staff can handle that?
Yeah, no question they're capable. I think this was the first time that these games have been so condensed like this. When we had to ask of some guys a little bit more than we've been able to ask of them before, just simply because of the way the weather's been in the schedule. Mm-hmm. That's not to make excuses, but that is what it is. And we just didn't quite get the starting performances that we'd hoped for, but that wasn't necessarily the way we pitched, more of how we played defense behind the pitchers in both games. So we made a ton of mistakes where the pitch count went up and mistakes were made, whether it was not catching some fly balls or blocking pitches or just making plays. I think that those guys, the starting pitchers and the pitchers in general, pitch better than the maybe box score would lead you to believe they did. But hey, look, we're gonna have to continue to seek and search out what we need and continue to try out maybe some different options, or continue to give guys the ball and figure it out. Because it's not going to get any easier and it's not going to get any more spread out. I mean, it's already been too spread out as it is. So I think that there's no question the pitching staff is capable. We have guys that are plenty capable going out there and beating anybody on our schedule. Not just Greg, not just Brady. I think that we feel confident that anytime you hand somebody the ball, they're going to go out and give us a good outing and give us a chance to win. And I don't think that was the case yesterday either. I thought the starters did give us a chance to win. It was really a matter of what we didn't do to really support them. So
9 errors combined in those 2 games.
That's going to be our whole focus this week. When we finally hopefully get a chance to get outside and do a little work on dirt here for the first time this year, is to spend a lot more time with our our infielders, our outfielders, and our catchers, just doing some things and just trying to restore some of that confidence that I know that's in there. It's just been a little bit forgotten. And I think when that kind of returns and we're able to get out here on a consistent basis, we'll feel a lot better and a lot more comfortable with what we're doing, and we won't get the ups and downs as much as we have. So excited about that. I'm really, honestly, I'm excited about the chance to start grinding with these guys. We haven't really had the opportunity to do it. You get the just the simple day in and day out of being inside, and it's hard to continue to grind and mm-hmm. get that energy up and get the focus that's needed when you're doing the same thing over and over again, and that's tough. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get to work with these guys and just have the chance to go out and put our best foot forward together.
Yeah.
And I think that they need that, I need that, and it's what baseball is. It's a daily grind of making adjustments and trying to solve the problems each day. And that's the fun part about it, too. I enjoy the cerebral part of this game and the piecing it together and trying to find different ways to make it work and utilizing your strengths and trying to overcome your weaknesses and make them better. And I don't know how great of a job I've done to this point of trying to do that. And I'm looking forward to the task at hand over the next 3 weeks to try to make sure that these guys can respond to what we're up against, the adversities that we're going to deal with, and certainly try to bring these seniors home with something that they can reflect on positively.
It's been a strange year.
No question about it.
Strange year.
I wish that I had. I'm glad that I don't, and I hope I don't have any in the near future. I guess the experiences that we've experienced this year, just the daily dose of difficulties, mostly weather inflicted.
Yeah.
And some, of our own doings too. But I think that, I'll look back and we'll learn some of it, but it doesn't make you feel any better now. But yeah, it's been weird to not have been outside on a baseball field to practice for this long into the season is unfortunate.
20-plus games this week, huge. Southern Virginia, it was an extra inning game down there. Marymount, a very close game, a pitcher's duel the first time around, and then a doubleheader with CNU on Saturday. This week, in terms of getting into the playoffs, is massive for your team. What does your team need to do?
We just got to go out and play baseball the right way. Simply, we don't need to worry about anything that the other teams are doing. We need to handle our own business. so many of these games that we've lost have been our own doings. Now, look, some of these teams have done a really good job against us too, and they've taken advantages of our mistakes, but we've just been so inconsistent on the defensive side of the ball that it's been hard to overcome. And if we handle the ball and we make plays, I'm just talking about routine stuff and maybe slightly above average, we got a chance to win, 2 or 3 more conference games for sure. So, look, we fell short yesterday. We had some opportunities. We were up later in the game, the first game, and we didn't get the job done. We were hanging around there in the second game, and we just couldn't quite kind of get all the way back. Harrisburg did a great job, and that's hey, the other team's trying to win too, and
they're
trying to prepare.
Good year.
Absolutely, and they've done a good job. So make no bones about it. We've faced some tough competition too here of late, but the other team's not that good compared to the mistakes that we've made. And we just need to handle our own business and stay focused on what we can control and control that versus worrying about what everybody else is doing. So I think that's really what it comes down to for me, is the excitement of trying to get back and roll our sleeves up here in the next couple of days to try to figure some of this stuff out and just really try to put our best foot forward here and have that renewed outlook of, hey, we were once a pretty darn good club and we beat some pretty darn good teams.
Yeah.
For some reason, that seems like it's in the distant past, and I think we just need a game where we go and kind of remind ourselves of those of our abilities, and we're capable. Just got to go out and do it, and I certainly believe that we can.
Well, the beautiful thing about baseball is you will get your chance this week. Coach, thank you for your time, and we look forward to Marymount seeing you this week.
Thank you.
Here with men's lacrosse head coach Tommy Pearce, the Bobcats winners of 3 in a row, a win over E-Town last week in non-conference play 10-8. A win over Wesley, 11-2. Bobcats 2-2 now in CAC play, and a 3-game winning streak coming into a very important week. And Coach, the E-Town game I want to get into, it was extremely competitive, tied at 8 in the fourth. E-Town wins the face-off. Your team gets it back, scores, wins the face-off, and a long stick goal from Nick Mattis. How much does a sequence like that and a win like that boost the confidence of your team?
We've been in some close games that have gone the other way. Obviously, I think with McDaniel and Mary Washington. So to be in a similar situation and come out on top, obviously, I think is pretty good for your psyche. As far as Nick Mattis's goal, that's to go from tied to up 1 to up 2 pretty quickly with a little time left. Makes the last few minutes of the game a little less stressful there, just having that extra 1 goal padding there.
Taking care of business, and you see the Marymount and Wesley wins. Those are games you should have. Are you pleased with how your team has been able to get ahead quickly, control the games, and come away with convincing wins?
Not real happy with 19 turnovers on Saturday against Wesley. I think that we got a little sloppy on offense, which has kind of been what we've been trying to get away from all year long on the offensive side of the ball. Just too many early turnovers and not being patient and possessing a little bit longer on offense to generate some more quality shots. So, obviously happy with the win, especially in conference as we're looking to make our way into the CAC tournament here in the next few weeks. We're shooting for, obviously. So that win accomplishes a lot as far as achieving that goal.
Over the course of this 3-game win streak, what stands out from your perspective that your team has done really well?
I think we've played really, really good defense. 3 goals against Marymount and 2 to Wesley. I think that we're playing really, really good team defense. We're playing a little bit better one-on-one defense, so sometimes we don't have to rely on the team defense behind it. But I think our defense is really starting to gel. I think Jack Marks is playing better as the season's progressed. We're winning some face-offs. I know late in CNU, face-offs really buried us there. They got a great face-off guy, and they really stretched the lead when they were dominating face-offs in the fourth quarter there. So, we've gotten Mike Thorne going a little bit at the face-off X, and he's doing a great job, spelling Matty Pagliaro a little bit and Drew Mash. So we've kind of gone from using those 2 guys to 3 face-off guys a little bit, and all 3 of those guys have a little bit different styles. So I think it's pretty tough for other teams to have to adjust to those 3 guys.
I want to expand on some of those things. Defensively, your close defense has been Campaneschi, Colvin, and Jones. They didn't start the season. The McDaniel game, we saw them come in. They've been there ever since. What have they brought that keeps you trusting them now game after game?
Right. Well, I think those 3 guys are starting, you know what I mean? But Dante York is playing a little bit of close and some long stick midi now with Nick Mattis and Greg Giles. And Joey Lucas gives us good minutes too. So I think we're pretty deep there. It's nice to be able to give some guys a rest so that they're not, tired at any point, late in the game or the middle of the game. When somebody gets a little bit tired, we'll put somebody out there and really stay fresh defensively, which I think the depth really gives us the ability to do. But I think that just the communication's gotten better over the course of the year. We've done some things in practice to we don't like our close defenders getting beat. And I think early in the season we were giving other attackmen some separation and maybe throwing some checks when we should just be getting into guys and trying to drive them away from the goal. So I think some of the adjustments we've made in the way we play defense, but just getting better as a group as the season's gone on too.
Where did Michael Thorne come from? Just seemingly out of nowhere. Was he even a face-off guy when he came in?
Yes. He was a very good face-off guy for Northern High School last year. They won a Maryland State Championship, and he was pretty dominant at the face-off X. Mike's always been very good at facing off. We've been working with him at getting a little bit better, 2 to 3 seconds after that whistle, picking up the ground ball, handling the ball a little bit better. He's been really, really committed to playing a lot of wall ball. We've been putting him in some situations in practice where he hopefully is getting a little more comfortable handling some pressure and being a little bit smarter about the way he substitutes off the field. So he's always been a very capable face-off guy. We're really pleased with how hard he's worked at getting a little bit better on the field beyond just
rounding out his game.
Yeah, he's made, I think, leaps and bounds, and we're excited to see it.
A couple weeks ago when we talked, you mentioned Quinn Western coming back from injury, and seeing him against E-Town, he spends a lot of time out there offensively. He doesn't have a lot of shots or assist numbers. What does he do for your offense, and how does he help out there?
He's pretty frustrated by that. I think there's a couple of times where I tell him that I know he wants to start getting some points, but some of the shots he's taking maybe aren't the best ones for us. So, he's quick, he can dodge hard to either hand. So, for him to kind of be a guy that can draw some slides and move the ball, I think he's creating more points than he's being credited for because, he's drawing a slide and pushing it once or twice to the backside, and some guys are getting some points back there. So, we don't need Quinn to necessarily get points so much as be a facilitator for the offense. And, sometimes he gets a little frustrated when those points aren't there, but we got to kind of just, know our roles. So, getting Quinn back, obviously he tore his PCL in the preseason, and he missed a lot of the season. So I think there's just a little bit of getting him back into it also. And I guess, he's not playing with his brace anymore, but that knee's taped up, and I think it makes him not as quick as he was before, but still a pretty tough matchup.
He's had the ball quite a bit here in this win streak, and a couple weeks ago we talked about our man-down defense. The man-up unit, number 2 in the conference in efficiency. Last year, Frostburg only had 6 man-up goals. This year, Frostburg has 6 guys with multiple man-up goals on the year. Right. How has that unit been so effective this season?
I think we've got some different personnel. I think Adam Gross has some pretty good vision, and I don't know if he has any man-up goals, but I think he's got definitely his fair share of assists. We practice it a lot, and we have we have enough plays in that we think we can mix it up a little bit, but not so many that we're kind of not good at some of them. So I think we've got a pretty good plan. We've got some guys in the right spot. I know our right pipe and our left pipe are finishing their opportunities close to the goalie. And we've had our fair share of opportunities in games too. I know we didn't have any on Saturday, which is a little bit frustrating, but I think when you look at our stats, we've been fouled more than we're fouling. So being a good man-up team is important, but also making sure that hopefully we're getting more man-up opportunities than we're giving teams man-up opportunities against us. So I like that ratio. Hopefully we'll keep staying out of the penalty box.
This team has been really great in those situations. And looking ahead to this week, 2 incredibly important conference games. Southern Virginia, 2-2 as well. You're a game up on St. Mary's at 1-3 in conference. How do you relay that importance to your guys, and what's the process for preparing for these two?
We kind of say that we're already in our playoff schedule. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So in order for us to make the conference tournament, there are some must-win games. So we hopefully we're kind of preparing ourselves for, obviously when you get to the playoffs, it's kind of one and done. But we're saying that these games that we're playing right now kind of carry some of the same weight. So hopefully we can get comfortable with playing with that sort of intensity going into the game as far as what the game means. To be comfortable with it, when we get closer towards the end of the season. But the guys, they obviously know what it takes to make the conference tournament, and what teams we kind of need to beat kind of in the middle of the pack right now to bump up your seed and how many games you need to win to get a home game and all that sort of stuff. They're well aware of that for sure.
Finally, are you playing your best lacrosse right now, or what do you need to do to be playing your best lacrosse?
I think we need to keep trying to limit our turnovers on the offensive end and keep clearing the ball at a high rate. I think that in the Elizabethtown game, I know at least 2 of the goals that we gave up were we had an opportunity to clear and failed it. So, and then I think another time we got a little sloppy in in substitution and dropped the ball. So really the couple of the goals we gave up to Elizabethtown were in our 3rd consecutive defensive stand when we had opportunities to not be playing defense. So, those are pretty frustrating when your defense plays great and then you make them play defense again and again because you fail a clear or you're sloppy in substitution. Those are you want to be playing offense at that point, not giving up goals in the defensive end. So that's important to us, making sure we clear the ball and just not having some of the times you got to live with turnovers because you want to go to the goal and try to make things happen. But the turnovers that occur when you're not trying to make something happen are the ones that when those add up in a close game, I think a lot of times those are the difference makers. So
big week ahead. Thank you so much, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Talking men's and women's tennis in 3, 2, 1. Up next, we have men's and women's tennis head coach Aaron Wilf, and the Bobcats continued their conference seasons. The men took on Mary Washington, fell in a 6-3 count to nationally ranked Mary Washington, and then both teams played St. Mary's on Saturday on a blustery day at Mountain Ridge High School. And so, Coach, let's take a look at this last week. What were the highlights from the men's and women's teams from these 2 matches?
Yeah, definitely. I thought a lot of highlights. It was great having Mary Washington in here, number 14 ranked team in the country. So always good to kind of get a chance to play the best in the conference. And 6-3 final score. A lot of good takeaways. I thought Shasta Nolan played pretty well at number 1 doubles. And then Joey Cox, Derek Thompson, as always, very competitive as well in the doubles. So singles, Shasta battled really hard. Nolan 2-2 at number 2 singles. I guess 2s were wild on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, Nate really battled, were competitive. Obviously, the big story was Jeffrey Goldring, who we inserted into the lineup at number 5 singles against Mary Wash, and he came out with a huge 6-1, 6-1 victory. To my knowledge, that's our first ever victory individually against Mary Washington in school history. So big kudos to Jeffrey. Came in, did his thing, and just was so impressive. So proud of his effort, and we're going to continue to get big things from Jeff moving forward. And, overall, St. Mary's, I thought we battled really hard under just really incredibly tough weather conditions. Very cold, very overcast, a little windy, so definitely wasn't easy. But everyone played well on the men's side, ladies as well. Obviously, I think Jenna's going to stand out in the ladies' match. She had a very, very impressive win going 8-6 at number 2 singles. But, again, everyone played well, tough conditions. And definitely proud of the effort that our teams made, both against Mary Wash and against St. Mary's.
6-3 against Mary Washington. Jeffrey Goldring has not seen a ton of action in singles play this season. He got his chance and took advantage. How did he earn this opportunity? And really, in a bigger picture, how do you go about setting your lineup day to day?
Yeah, I think it was a little of an adjustment against Mary Washington. They only brought 5 individuals to the match, so there's always going to be an adjustment with that. And we just had the opportunity to get him in. How did he earn it? He shows up to practice every day. He does everything that we ask him to do. He just puts his heart and soul into every single practice. We just love that about him. He certainly earned the job to start against Mary Washington, and wow, did he not disappoint. It's still very exciting to think about what he did, and he's going to continue to earn playing time, I think, and just so proud of his efforts.
You work hard, you come to practice and do your job, and you get the shot. And he's a guy who took advantage, made school history in a sense, the first win over Mary Washington. The men against Mary Washington, no one was swept 6-0, 6-0 in singles play. The Eagles didn't bring the whole squad. Both doubles were 8-1. Do you think your Bobcats gave Mary Washington more than the Eagles perhaps expected from your group? And are you proud of that?
Yeah, hopefully, it's always great to go out there and make a statement. We actually won one game against them total all of last year. I'm trying to do the math very, very quickly. I'm seeing a lot of big numbers. I know we're in the 20s this year, so going from one game to somewhere in the 20s just was a huge step forward in the right direction for the guys against Mary Wash. We always love making statements. Hopefully, this was a statement match. Again, so proud of everyone in the lineup that day. Again, tough conditions down at Fort Hill High School, but no one complained. They rolled up their sleeves. They went to work. They did exactly what we asked them to do, and that's what good teams do.
Saturday, Jenna Lipinski highlighted the day with that win at number 2 singles against St. Mary's. She leads the team with 6 singles wins on the season. How has she been a leader for your squad this year?
Jenna is just so consistent, and she's just such a fighter. She has this will to want to win every day, and we just love that about her. She's just so steady, and we just know day in and day out what she's going to bring to this program. And she had a very impressive win, 8-6 against a very solid player from St. Mary's. That's another conference win for her. She's going to have the opportunity to get a couple more conference wins this year, and we think she's making a name for herself. She's really earned everything that she has, and she's going to continue to do really, really big things for us moving forward.
She's had a great season. Only 2 more weeks left in this regular season. The big one is Saturday at home. It's Penn State Harrisburg at Mountain Ridge High School. A win for the women last season. The men hoping to win its first CAC match in several seasons. How does this team accomplish that on Saturday?
It's going to have to be, really a good match overall for the women. I think, it starts with Kate Paler at number 1 singles. She has the potential to really compete against anybody that she plays against. If Kate's on her game, she's having a good day, she will be fine. I think Kate and Jenna need to start strong at number 1 doubles. And then just everyone has to kind of, continue that. I really think that Sammy and Mott, we call her Elizabeth Mott, have to be really, really sharp at number 3 doubles. They continue to get better every single match, and we just love that about our number 3 doubles team. And then Allison and Sophia have to be very steady at number 2 doubles. I feel like there's a great opportunity for us to hopefully take at least 2 of the 3 in the doubles. And then in the singles, it's really, same characters. Kate has to be really good at number 1. Jenna, again, at number 2 has been really steady. Allison at 3. Sammy has to be very consistent at 4. Same thing with Sophia at 5. And Ma just has to be very, very competitive in that match at 6. I think if we all play our A game, if they show up, if they really want to win, I think the women are going to do some big things against Harrisburg this weekend, hopefully.
And on the men's side, looking to win the first conference match since 2015. How can they go about doing that?
It's similar to the women. I think we're going to have to start off strong. We have a very good, solid number 1 doubles team. Shasta and Nolan continue to get better. Nolan was he had to miss this weekend, but hopefully we have Nolan back here on campus this coming weekend. I think him and Shasta, like I said, can do very, very big things at number 1 doubles. We really like where we are at number 2 doubles. We have Chad O'Neill, Nate Farlow, who are going to continue to get stronger every single match that they play. And we just love Joey and Derek at number 3 doubles. So, we definitely need to take 2 of the 3, I think, in the doubles. And then singles, again, Shasta just is really making a name for himself at number 1. We feel really good about Nolan, Nate, Joey. Derek is coming off an injury. I think he's going to be good to go on Saturday. And then towards the bottom of the lineup, we're really not sure kind of who's going to be in there. We have really a lot of good options. Jeffrey Goldring, as we mentioned earlier, is really stating a case for himself. Justin Davis, Stephen Glassbrenner. So we feel like we're getting a lot deeper down, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Sure.
So, not sure who's going to be in at this time. We're going to have a week of practice to kind of let the guys duke it out and kind of see who's going to give us our best shot against Harrisburg. But like you said, it's been a couple years since we have a winning conference. Harrisburg swept us 9-0 last year, and we're really happy we have them at our place this year. And we're just going to go out and do everything we can to try to steal some wins, and we'll see what happens. Should be a great match on Saturday.
With only 2 more weeks in the season, what are the goals going forward to close out the year, and how big would a win for both sides be to have sort of a tangible hey, we can put our name on that. We're proud of that, and we're moving forward.
Yeah, it really all starts with Penn State Harrisburg. I think that's always a match that we have circled on our calendar. I think it would be great for us to go out Saturday and hopefully get a sweep. Hopefully the women play well, the men play well. I think that's a huge goal for us. And if we can leave Saturday with a big 2 wins against Harrisburg, I think we're going to be pretty happy about that. We have York College the week after. And, we're hoping to do some damage at York as well. No reason we can't go up there and be extremely competitive against York. We feel good about where we are, and hopefully that's a good match for us. The men actually have 2 more non-conference matches. We're going to reschedule Penn State Altoona, which got canceled or postponed this weekend. So we're going to look to get that maybe this Friday or potentially a weekday next week. And then the men close out the year on April 22nd, which is a Sunday against Bethany. So, really just trying to get a few more wins, trying to play our best tennis. And, we're just going to take it one day at a time, do everything we can do, and hopefully end the season on a very high note.
We're looking forward to it Saturday, Penn State Harrisburg at Mountain Ridge High School. Coach, good luck, and thank you for joining me. All right, let's do it. Women's lacrosse in 3, 2, 1. Up next, I have women's lacrosse head coach Hayley Whear. And women's lax 1-1 in conference play last week, lost to nationally ranked Mary Washington. The first conference win over Wesley, 14-11. Frostburg now 1-3 in conference play with 2 huge games coming up. We'll start with Mary Washington briefly. Mary Wash, an elite team, big halftime lead. However, what was the message for your team at halftime, and then you come out and play to an even 4-4 second half in the next 30 minutes, and how did your team respond to that message?
I think the message was that that wasn't our team, and it didn't portray exactly what we've practiced or how we've been working all year. And so we have typically been known as a half 30-minute team, and so it was frustrating for us, and we tried to flip it around of, since the first half didn't go as planned, now let's work the second half, which we typically have not done. So for us to kind of get that response during halftime to come back and to really decide to step up and to play our game, I think that was huge to kind of see that on the back end where we're typically too tired to play the second half. So we were excited to come out and kind of have that even score in the second half.
And building off of that, the win over Wesley. And for many players on your team, it's the first conference win of their careers. It didn't come easily. There were some moments of adversity in this game. How do you feel your team responded, especially leading 6-1? Wesley cuts it to 1, 8-7, and your team comes through.
I think we just tried to stay on the same page the whole time and say we had set these goals for ourselves and that we were really trying to follow through with them the entire time. So yes, the score didn't really reflect exactly what we had planned, but I think that we stayed on top the whole game, and we got some different people in there pulling some different things, and that was exciting to kind of have some other people step up in ways that they haven't before.
Stephanie King jumps out to me where typically offensively she's the one passing to the goal. She's the team leader in assists this season, top 10 in the conference. 5 goals in this game. Where did this outburst come from?
We really need some help on attack. Morgan Cavey does so much for us, and we've needed to move her to the draw. And so we've stressed at practice that we need some people to step up, and Morgan's going to be too tired running midfield to be the leading scorer all the time. And I think Stephanie took that this week and ran with it, and it was exciting to see that she still had an assist but still put up points for us, because we did. That's what the low attackers, that's their job, is to put up goals. And so when that doesn't happen, it's very frustrating that we get the ball down there and work so hard and then we just turn it over. So I think she took it, and I think she ran with it all week, and she did really well at practice, and it showed in the game.
As a team, Frostburg had 14 goals on 46 shots, which is interesting because last year you had 24 goals on fewer shots. What were some of the problems offensively, perhaps some squandered chances and some good looks that didn't go for your team, and how can your team improve from that performance?
I think a lot of it is making sure we have the right opportunity. So we tend to get the ball down, and then we get into panic situations, and we feel like we need to score within 10 seconds, and we take the shot that's first there, even though it might not be the best option. And so we've stressed the past couple of days at practice to really, 90 seconds is a long time. And I think that we forget about that a lot, and we just feel like we're going and we just have to push it. And instead we really need to use the clock more wisely to our advantage so that our middies get a break. And we don't have a ton of subs in that area, so it's hard for them sometimes to run back and forth all the time when we get the ball down and then we turn it over in 5 seconds on attack. So I think that we have stressed that a lot this week, and I think the team responded a little bit there, especially at the end, holding it when we needed to instead of just going to cage and turning it over. That was huge for them because we haven't really talked about that. So I think that it's there. I just think we need to take better opportunities instead of just forcing it.
Sure, and that gets me to the start of the second half. It reminded me of the beginning of the CNU game where it was just goal, 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 just back and forth quickly, a really fast pace. Is that necessarily the style that your team wants to play? And how did your team kind of get out of that whole just back and forth and really get patient offensively and buckle down defensively?
I don't think that it's the style of play they want to do. I think it just happens, and we need to stress and remind them that that is not what we want as coaches. We really do want to kind of use the clock more wisely and have some opportunities and get our middies a break when we can. I think because Wesley was pressuring out some of our attackers were panicked, and that's when we just drive in there and take the first opportunity, even though that's not the best one to take. So I do think that we got a better idea playing someone else this week and can kind of see how much we forced it. And 14 on 46, I mean, that's kind of crazy. We just made that goalie, I mean, every shot we took was either directly at her, we missed the cage, or there's just so many more opportunities that we could have taken that just to place the ball right around her, which we talked about at practice. And I think we just need to keep stressing that.
We saw a couple of players in different roles on Sunday. Pardon me. I saw without Summer Cavey in the lineup, Morgan Cavey had to move to the draw control. I saw Jess Hartley offensively more. How have some roles sort of changed and evolved in these last few weeks of the season?
At this point, we're really stressing that we need to do what's best for the team, and sometimes that means not being in your comfort zone and doing what we are used to doing, and that people might have to step up in different scenarios and play different positions. And I think that we have some people that really have stepped up huge for us. Not only Morgan and Jess on the draw, but Mackenzie Adams and Sam Cataldo. They both were playing offense as well, and that is something that they're not used to either, that we just threw them in 2 days ago at practice, and we're like, here you go. And they responded beautifully. So it was really nice to kind of have some other opportunities that we can move some people around and not get so stuck if we have 1 or 2 people out that we rely on a lot. So I think that they all really worked together and kind of stepped up when we needed them.
And in order to move those players up the field, I've also seen Sydney Saris and Teresa Stabler working their way into the starting lineup on Sunday. What did you see from them that gave you the confidence to be able to put them in there and move Adams, Cataldo, Hartley up into the offensive zone?
I think that at practice the 2 days before, they really had stepped up a lot, and we noticed it. I think that they were communicating a lot. They really saw the ball. They were trying hard to get the ball out of our 30 into the midfield, and so Sydney has a ton of speed if we can get her to use it sometimes, and Teresa's voice is just so helpful down there on defense. She talks on the sideline constantly, so to have her in there and be able, she's been injured, and so we've kind of rested her for a while now, and having her kind of fresh and Sydney fresh, I think, was huge to really step up, and they wanted to show that they could do it, and they absolutely did. I think that both of them played phenomenal the whole game, and it was exciting to kind of see that now we have a little bit more confidence in the bench, and that we can move some people around to get everyone off of the bench, that we can use a lot more talent that we do have to kind of help our team when we're struggling numbers-wise. That
all came together on Sunday with the win, and this week, 2 extremely important games at Southern Virginia on Wednesday, at St. Mary's on Saturday. 3-5 is good enough to get you into the CAC tournament in the last 3 years. In order to hit that mark, Frostburg needs to win 2 out of its last 4 games. What worked from Wesley that you're going to take into those 2 games, and what perhaps didn't work and you may have to tweak going into this week?
I think that some things that did work were having some people step up and seeing what an important role everyone does have individually. Sometimes I think we tend to rely on a couple people, and that's not going to work for our team anymore. We have a small roster, and we run out of legs very quickly, especially in some of these CAC games. And so I think having people realize that their role does play an important part in getting these wins, I think that hopefully that will continue. The other thing is I really am excited now that we will have Summer and Molly Biggers back. So that should be exciting to have 2 more middies that we can use and have some fresh legs off the bench. But I was overall impressed with everyone that played on Saturday or Sunday, and how much more I'm tempted to use them all this week as well to really help us move forward.
Big week ahead, Southern Virginia, St. Mary's. Coach, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.